Hey everybody, it's Judy Clock here, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, coming to you from Middletown, Virginia. And tonight I've got a quick little project for you because I have been just super busy this week, just trying to play catch up from the Thanksgiving holiday and just getting everything all ready. And I can't believe that it's already December 4th. But I don't know if you remember, for Thanksgiving, I did the cute little turkey treat boxes. Well, I know there's many holiday parties coming up. You probably want to have some quick little party favors to hand out. So I've got some more cute little party favor boxes that you can whip up literally in minutes. And we've got 4 different designs. So we have, of course, Santa. Oops, let me change my camera out. That would help. Hold on. Let's go. There we go. Now we're cooking. So, of course, we've got Santa. And how cute is that? A cute little Santa box. You can fill it with whatever you want. Then Santa needs his helpers. So, of course, we've got one for the elves. And for this one, I used garden green. You can use any color green you want. But for Santa, I used real red. The elf, I used some basic green, some garden green. For our reindeer, looks like he's mad, doesn't he? The way his eyes are. I might change those up, but we've got a reindeer here. So we've got some Santa and his reindeer and his elf. And then, of course, no table would be complete without some presents. And this is just made using beautiful designer series paper. And I love this because it's pretty inside and out. And just tie a ribbon around it, fill it with whatever you want to fill it with. If you're using like a little cellophane bag, you could actually just tie the ribbon around the cellophane bag. So those are the 4 different options that you can make using this same technique. It's super, super, super easy. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to do the Santa and the reindeer because the elf is essentially the Santa in just a different color. So let me go in here. So we're starting out with a piece of cardstock. This is 4 inches high by 8.5 inches long. So with the 4 inches at the top of my scoring tool, I am going to score it at 2 inches. Then I'm going to flip this around so that the 8.5 inch side is at the top of my scoring tool. And we're going to score it at 2, 4, 6, and 8. So basically every 2 inches. All right, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and just give these creases a nice crisp fold with our bone folder. Now, if you are using designer series paper, just go ahead and crease that fold with your finger because the designer series paper can rip a little bit easier. So we don't want that to happen. So just give that little DSP a nice crease with your finger. All right, now we're going this little piece, this bottom piece, this little 1/2 inch by 2 inch piece. We need to cut that off. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to cut that top piece on an angle, and then I'm just going to trim that away. We're not going to need that piece. That can go in the trash. Now on the bottom, I want to trim along each of these vertical lines right up to that horizontal line. So I'm just going to trim right up the score line to that horizontal line at 2 inches. And that is essentially going to be our box. I'm going to fold this little 1/2 inch flap over towards what's going to be the inside. I'm going to add some liquid glue. You can add liquid glue. You can add tear and tape. You can add Stampin' Seal Plus. And then we're going to fold this over so that it meets. And that's all there is to it. And that's it. Right? We're going to let that set for a minute. And then we're going to open the box. If I didn't glue it together. There we go. And now I'm just going to fold in. Now, you don't really need to add a lot of glue to some of these earlier panels. I'm just going to add a little bit, maybe, to just kind of help them stay a little bit. All right. But again, just a light coat on some of these. This one is where you're going to need a little bit more because that's going to be the actual like outside flap. All right. I'm going to put that down there. Put it here, and I like to take my glue bottle and just kind of press it down to make sure we've got a really good press. Okay. Now I'm going to make sure that that little 1/2 inch tab, which is right there, that's going to be the back of my box. I have then here a piece of, well, before I do this, let's go and add that white first. So this is a piece of basic white. It's 2 inches long by 1 inch wide. And I'm just going to rip the edges. So I want to make it kind of look like Santa's, the fur on his, that white fur on his coat. And then I'm just going to glue this to the front of my box. All right, kind of put it somewhere in the middle. That's good. Close enough. Then I have a piece of basic black. It's 8.5 inches long by 3/4 of an inch wide. So you can either bend this around your box. I like to score it. So I'm going to bring my scoring tool back in. We don't have to be so precise. So this one I'm going to score on the odd inches. So I'm going to score this at 1, at 3, at 5, and at 7. Okay, because I want those front pieces to overlap just a bit, because that's where we're going to put the big buckle. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of press my score lines down, and I'm going to start here. I'm going to take this little 1 inch section, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that. And I found it works better if you work in sections. All right, we're just going to add that to, that's going to go right over our piece of white. I'm just going to add some glue to each section, kind of holding it down as I go. Makes it easier as you can press it down. Okay, got our next one. I'm just going to add some glue to each section. Okay. And as you go, you'll notice I'm pushing on the piece that's been glued, I'm pushing that down. Okay. Our next section. Okay. Doesn't need a lot of glue. And then our last one. Now, again, you'll notice that overlaps. That's okay, because that is going to be covered by our metallic buckle. So I have here a piece of gold metallic. This is a 1 inch square. I'm going to add this here, and I forgot to cut one more piece of basic black. So I'm going to add that there. Don't know if I have any scraps right on my table. Of course, I had a whole bunch of scraps earlier, and now I think I moved them all in my effort to clean. I think I removed all of my scraps. So let me go grab one scrap of basic black, because we'll need that to finish our buckle. And if I could find my bag of basic black scraps, which was right here underneath my mailing envelope. I have to send out some happy mail, so I had some happy mail. So I want to make sure this piece is going to be, again, 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to pull this out. We're going to cut it at 3/4, and this might already be. If it's not 3/4, it's pretty darn close. That's pretty darn close. And we are going to add this little square right in the middle of our gold. And that's what gives us that buckle look. So it looks like Santa's belt. So if you wanted, you could emboss the white with like maybe the So Swirly embossing folder to give it a little bit of dimension. Excuse me. But that is the little Santa treat box. Let's work on our reindeer box. Now this one I have already scored it. It's again 4 inches by 8.5. I scored it on the long side, on the 8.5 inch side at 2, 4, 6, and 8. I rotated it 90 degrees, and I scored it at the 4 inch side at 2 inches. Again, we're going to go ahead and kind of give all of our score lines a good crease with our bone folder. Okay. And again, if you're using designer series paper, just give it a good score with your finger. And again, I'm going to trim off this bottom 2-inch by 1/2 inch section. We don't need that. That's because that upper tab is going to be what the tab that's going to hold our box together. Again, I'm going to cut from the bottom edge up to that 2-inch score line on all of my vertical score lines. Okay. So we're cutting up the vertical score lines to that horizontal score line. Okay, same thing. We're going to add a little glue to that little flap, that little 1/2 inch flap, and we're going to fold over our what I'm going to call our reindeer body. All right, now again, we're just going to fold these in. And again, on these earlier ones, not a lot of glue, just kind of enough. We'll get that tamped down. I'm just going to hold these panels in place a little bit. And then on this last panel, that's where you want to have a good amount of glue because that's sort of the panel that holds the whole box bottom together. Okay, again, flip it over. And again, I just like to tamp it down with my glue bottle. All right. Now, for his head, I have cut 2 by 2-inch squares. And this, I'm just going to freehand because I want to give him sort of like that triangular head look. So I am just going to cut from one corner down, and I'm cutting them both together because I am going to sandwich the antlers between that. I'm going to flip it over because I'm right-handed. I can only cut from one side. And I'm just going to cut that over. Okay. So now we've kind of got his head. One end's a little bit more pointy. It's okay. So this is going to be our front. I'm just going to put a little dot here. If I can find my pen, I had it. There it is. I'm going to put a little dot there so I know that's the side that's got to come over. All right. Just using a regular office supply hole punch, I'm going to punch a little dot for the nose. And this one has that little container that holds all of them. And then I'm going to use a glue dot to attach the nose to his face. All right, let's see. Here we go. All right, we're just going to put the little, did I get the glue dot? I don't think I got the glue dot. I did. Okay. I'm going to put the little nose there. Make sure it doesn't stick to my paper. And let me see. Did I do this wrong? No, I didn't do that wrong. Okay. I'm just going to put those there for now. I did put the thing on the wrong side. It's okay. Now I want to do his eyes, and I have a little this is a 1/2 inch hole punch. It's an old one, but gosh, I wish Stampin' Up would bring back some of these littler hole punches. So I think for this one, I might just do 2 round eyes and color in the pupils with my basic black marker. Okay, I think he won't look quite as angry with the round eyes like he did with the other eyes, the squinty eyes. And again, I'm just going to use a glue dot to put these on. How fun is this? So fun, right? Okay, put that one a little bit closer. A little bit closer. All right, now we got to cut the antlers. And I was really at a loss to how to do antlers because I really can't freehand things very well. But I had this old leaf punch, and I thought, I can make this work. So I'm going to cut out 2 of these. I'm going to do a little hand cutting because obviously I don't want them to look like leaves. So I'm just going to kind of cut some of these off to make them look not quite so rounded, but still a little bit antler-ish. Okay. He's only a young deer, I think. Rudolph is young, so I don't think he has too many antlers. Although I heard female reindeers are the ones with the antlers. Who knows? I guess in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, he was a guy. So we're just going to make him a guy. So, all right, those are my antlers. We're going to put one there. Do the same thing. We're going to kind of cut off some of this rounded part of the leaf. If I can pick this up now. So, I mean, they're not great, but I think it's close enough, right? It kind of will look like antlers, I think. If you have like a die set that has maybe tree branches, that might even be better. But we're going to put these on again with some glue dots. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, we're going to put one there. Oops, one there. Put the other one on the other side. It's stuck. And then I'm going to actually glue this piece to this one. So you can't really see those antlers or the glue dots. So let's go ahead and put this on. Okay, whoops. Good thing that was sticking on my glue bottle. All right. There we go. See, that looks better. So we covered up our antlers. Now I'm going to add this to my box front with a couple of little dimensionals. So I think I'm down to my corner pieces. So let me snip some of these. Don't throw away those edge pieces. Those are just as good as any other piece. I had a student here for a class the other day, and she goes, oh, there's no more dimensionals on here. I'm like, oh, yes, there is. Just cut around the edges and use those. She goes, I had never thought of that. I'm like, yeah, don't throw out those edges, folks. All right, and we're just going to put that on there. And there is our reindeer treat box. So I hope you like this. It's just a quick little project. Sometimes, life gets busy. We got a million things to do. So sometimes we just do something nice and quick. It's a fun little project to do. Again, you can use your DSP and make little presents, treat boxes. And don't forget, Santa's helper, he needs the elf. He needs his reindeer and he needs his elf. And of course, he has to have presents to deliver. So you could use a whole variety of these on your holiday table for parties, for dinners, for whatever you think you need. That's it for me tonight, folks. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to subscribe, hit like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can keep bringing you new content. Thanks. Have a great weekend. Bye.